What's up and good morning, guys. Welcome to Lake Rhino Ranch. All right, that was stupid. I'm just kidding, guys. We are not digging a lake or a pond, but we are doing some digging. We got a lot of work we got to do today, and we are flying solo, so this should get interesting. Unfortunately, Abel's a little bit under the weather, so he went to the doctor's today. Papa Rhino is doing something else. We got to run 3 pieces of equipment solo, and the worst part about all of that is getting it to where we need. So we've got the Mini X over here in my dirt hole. This is where I pull all of my dirt out of. We'll talk about this in a second. We now need to go get the Coyote tractor, and then we got to get the dump truck. And there's something really cool in the dump truck I want to show you guys. But first, let's talk about my dirt hole. Now we're actually going to be moving dirt up to where we moved that patio cover, just because that thing's like super uneven, and I want it to be kind of level where the patio cover is. And I don't really want to dig up dirt around it to kind of build it up, if that makes sense. So this is the hole that I just pull dirt out of all the time when we need to fix the driveway, when we need to do a little bit of work out on the street or whatever it may be. Now, it has been raining for the last couple of days, and unfortunately that's why this video is out later than my regularly scheduled posting schedule. This type of work is no fun when everything starts getting muddy and slick, and it just adds weight to the truck, it sticks in the truck, it doesn't want to come out when we go to dump, yada yada yada. But for all of you that say I need to dig a pond out here, here's why I haven't done it yet. So it has been raining for almost the last 48 hours straight. There is not one puddle in this pit. Now this does not drain. You can see it goes higher as it goes up out that way. This should be holding a ton of water, but because everything here is this DG mix, it just drains right through it. So this stuff is great if you want to like build on top of it. You know, you dig it up like we did. You know, we've actually used a lot of this for base under the concrete work that we have done around here. It's great for that, but you get layers like this where it is just super, super hard. I mean, that almost looks like there's a boulder right there, but we end up breaking through it. You fluff it up a little bit and you get some really nice DG, but it doesn't hold water. So if we were to do a pond out here, it would have to be a liner or a concrete bottom or clay, or you bring in, I forget what the type of clay is called. Either way, it's extremely expensive. I think honestly the liner would be the cheapest way to do it. Bringing material out here is just, we're too far from anything, so it ends up being very, very expensive. Concrete, obviously we know, is very, very expensive, so it would probably just end up having to be a liner. Now I've got a decent pile right here that I dug up the other day, but we're gonna need more than that. So I'm gonna jump in the Mini X right now. I'm gonna dig up a bunch more dirt, make a big pile, then we'll go get the Coyote, and then we'll start moving some stuff, and I'm excited to show you guys the dump truck. It is sick. Now we're gonna grab the Coyote tractor, and look at that combo right there. I feel like we need a well to hitch onto the box scraper there so we can hook up the dump trailer. That'd be a cool combo to tow around the property. And let's get this old girl fired up. Let the glow plugs warm up for a second. It is not warm today. Oh, hello. There we go. All right, down to the pile we go. Now I gotta say, my only gripe with this tractor is the fact that the shifter is over here. And the reason I say that is because it makes getting in and out of the tractor kind of a pain in the butt. If you have it all the way back in 2nd or 4th gear, it's not really in the way. I mean, it's in the way, it still sticks up pretty high. But if you have it in like 1st or 3rd gear and you go to get out, this thing is like in the center of, let's see, between the steering wheel and the shifter, I have that much space. They should have put it over here. Now I'm sure there's probably 1 or 2 scenarios in life where you actually need to shift this thing while operating the loader arms, but I bet it is so rare we could put the shifter over here and nobody would complain about it. Then you have everything out of the way. You've got a nice clear exit path that you don't end up getting hung up on the shifter, because going out this way, you've got the loader controls that are in your way. Before we get the dump truck though, I'm gonna go around and just make a nice smooth pass. I was doing a lot of this work the other day, and that dump truck, man, you keep bouncing around in that bad boy. So I'm gonna try to knock down any high spots in this big area that I need to turn around to hopefully not make it so dang bouncy in there. You know, Obviously not trying to make a perfect road, but just make it better than it was the other day. With everything being so wet from the last 48 hours of rain, I don't think I did much better over here. You can see the spots that don't have vegetation. Grades out very nice and easy. The spots with the vegetation just starts to clump up inside of the box blade. You can see it's actually, that whole side of the box blade is still full of crap. So we're just gonna call that good. It's better than it was the other day, and I did probably, I don't know, 20 or so trips in the dump truck. But now we're gonna walk back to the dump truck. I wish one wheel made like an even smaller one wheel. I know they have a smaller model, but I wish there was like an even smaller one that I could throw in the cabs of the tractors. So when I'm doing stuff like this where I have to go all the way back to the house to grab the other piece of equipment, come back, I can just ride a one wheel. Now I'm still not done with it. I mean, which is probably no surprise to anybody. I do still need to trim that 2x6 and that 4x4, but this gate has been one of the best things that we added to the ranch. I mean, obviously it comes with fencing off the entire house from the rest of the property. So right there, that is just on walk mode, so it doesn't open all the way up. Opens just a little bit to let you walk through it. Pretty much every project we do here at the ranch has a pretty important purpose, right? Except for the hunting blind. That thing I haven't actually really been in much since I built it. Seems like our coyote problem has slowed way down. We'll see when like pup season comes, whenever that is and all. But yeah, that project was pretty much, you know, some loser that works for the property management company at my warehouse saw that we were gonna build a mezzanine, reported me because they needed to pat themselves on the back for something in life. And well, I had extra material, so we ended up building that. So the F600 is in the carport, and check out how nice this area looks now that it is all kind of green and grown in. It is a healthy mix of weeds, but there is a good amount of grass in it. Here, I'll come down to this lower section. You can see that there actually is a lot of grass growing in between it. And I think if we keep this area mowed, you're gonna see the grass springing up more than some of these weeds. So I've thought about actually irrigating this area. There's a couple of spots like right here where it's a big boulder underneath, but I think we can jackhammer all that out, throw some fresh dirt over top of it. But this area just looks so nice in between, you know, the house, the carport, the guest house, and all that. Here, look at this section right here. You can see this is actually a good amount of grass. And again, you are getting some weeds mixed in, but there's a good amount of grass that I think if we actually gave it a shot, it would survive. I'm definitely jealous of the properties you see in the Midwest where it's just like 100 acres of grass, and no matter what they do, the grass just grows back perfect and luscious and beautiful. We don't have that out here, so we go through cycles. So when the summertime comes, all of this dies off and this goes back to bare dirt. But again, I think if we can keep it irrigated, assuming we're not using it up and burning up too much water, it might be something kind of cool to do. But get ready, guys. One of the big issues with the F600, now that she's running perfect, my neighbor did a bunch of work on her, some friends did a bunch of work on it, got her tuned up. All right, the truck is running great. No issues with the truck running. The big issue was the seat. Anytime getting in and out, there's these giant exposed springs, and it was just dangerous for one, but very uncomfortable and disgusting. Like anytime you got out of it, you're just itchy. Like you felt like you had fiberglass all up and down your back. There was God knows how many years of mice poop from the farm in Minnesota that this thing came off of, but those issues are all gone now. I had a custom seat built for this thing, and it is awesome. You ready? Boom, look at this, y'all. Woo, this seat turned out so sick. So I went to my buddy Oscar. Oscar has done a bunch of upholstery from him. Oscar is like 80 something years old. I don't know, 70 something, almost 80 years old. Right when I rolled up with this seat, he's like, oh, 1960s. So apparently back in 1960, Oscar was down in Sinaloa, Mexico, working on these exact seats. And all he had was a pair of pliers and his teeth to bend the springs. Like this is no joke. This is the story Oscar was telling me. And if you look at Oscar's like fingers from doing upholstery for 60 something years, you could tell this man is not joking about that. So Oscar had to basically rebuild this entire seat. And if you haven't seen these seats, they're not like traditional spring coils or anything like that. They're these weird, they're weird. I've never seen a seat like this. Obviously this is, you know, 60 something years old, but Oscar rebuilt all of the springs. He did all new burlap in the back. This, whatever this material is, well, I guess I could show you guys the springs here, but this is how the springs work, right? Like it's these weird gap that it makes, and I don't really know what's going on, but he rebuilt all of the ones down below. We got new burlap, we've got new foam on the backrest. That's just a thinner foam. We've got a thicker foam down here, and he actually tapered it down to the backside, so it's a little bit lower back there. And for those of you that don't know, most of what we sell on the website, most of our apparel, workforapparel.com, is actually made 2 doors down for us. So I went over there, and Oscar cut me out these center sections, and I had my screen printer embroider this cool logo that we came up with in like 15 minutes. So we got Rhino Ranch in both of the backs of the seats. I think it looks phenomenal. I wanted to keep a really old school retro look. Everything I do is on brand new modern trucks. I've never done anything classic. So I went for this like plaid, flannel, almost like picnic tablecloth fabric. I thought it would just be a cool old school touch. So we did those as inlays, and then we went with this beautiful brown vinyl for the rest of the seats. And I think it turned out awesome. And not only do they look good, but man, they are comfy. I mean, it's almost like a trampoline. Like, they almost got too much spring in these bad boys now that Oscar rebuilt them, because I was so used to this thing just having no spring in it because the springs were just broken and worn out. We need a lever action just sitting right here in the back window. I think that'll really kind of tie in the look. And if you guys are interested, let me know. We're actually thinking about throwing this logo on some hoodies and stuff and doing like a Rhino Ranch line on the Work For It Apparel website. Maybe we'll open up a pre-order as soon as this video goes live. We actually do have some new lanyards and stuff that just hit the website as well. So, but anyways, let's fire this thing up. It's been sitting for a couple of days. I'll show you guys how kind of simple she fires up. Let's see, we'll do one push of the throttle and one more push of the throttle. Oh, look at that. Now, before we start for the day, we're gonna throw some fuel in her, and I've got two variations of these sweet compliant gas cans that we all know and love so much. And to this day, I think I own 6 of these, 3 different types, 3 different manufacturers, 3 different versions of this stupid compliant latch pumping system. And I have not met one that doesn't leak. Every single one, every single style, every single version leaks, which I hate to say it, but I think that's worse for the environment than the other style of gas cans that we've been using for 100 years that have been fine. And I know there's been a few people out there that are like, well, you gotta adjust the O-ring, you gotta change this, you can buy this part on Amazon. It shouldn't take that. You know what doesn't take that right out of the gate to work properly? A VP can. Works properly. Let's see, are we leaking already? And God, are these things slow. The reason I have all these is because I've bought them basically in emergency times where I was down in town, I needed 5 gallons to bring home, or for whatever reason. Oh, geez, All right, that spill was a little bit operator error. That took way too long. I can't stand that. We're just gonna try and take this top off and pour this one in. Maybe. There we go. Now keep in mind, guys, companies that design these little nozzles are the ones that do these studies, then present them to the government and be like, look, other nozzles are horrible and dangerous, but we have a solution. They'll bring like one perfect one to demonstrate in front of the lawmakers and be like, see, look, we're saving the earth. And then those companies get things like their designs mandated. You have to use that because you're saving the earth, and that's how they make millions of dollars. The truck world is the same, the diesel world is the same, the power performance world is the same. It's basically how companies can take over a market share, is be like, hey, everybody else's product is bad for the environment. But look, we made this one that's good, and we funded all these EPA studies to show that the other ones are bad. All right, I think that's the end of my gas can rant, as I'm covered in gas from this process. This was from the can with the lid on. I spilt less by taking the lid off of this other can. Okay, we've got some fuel. We are ready to put this old girl to work. Now, driving these old trucks is fun, but man, is it a workout. No power steering. You're gonna see, we're gonna be loading this old girl heavy today. Tires scare me. They're split rim, which a lot of tire shops and tire guys don't want to deal with because they're pretty dangerous. And then they have some bubbles in some spots. So now, thankfully, I have the Milwaukee M18 tire inflator, because that allows me to just set this and run away from it while it's filling up instead of having to stand here with an air chock. So let's see what we're at. You can see the tire looks pretty low, but again, these are old cracked tires. I have no idea what year they're at. Does it even say a year on here? I don't see a year on here. I don't even see what we're supposed to fill them up to. This could get scary. Let's see what we got. We got 19.5 PSI. I don't know, what should we do, 30? I don't feel like 30 is crazy, but I'm scared of blowing one of these tires because then that just totally kills us for the day. 30, go. This side looks like it's about in the same shape. Rears look good, rears aren't too bad, and obviously the rears, I mean, they're not the end of the world because that doesn't affect our arm pump that we get when we're trying to steer. I think the rear ones, they'll have some wonky bubbles on them. It's actually not too bad, not too bad. That was weird. So this thing shut off, which usually it does that when it reaches a target, but now it's back down to 28. So I wonder if we just have that big of a leak. It's weird that it would hold at 19.5 though over the span of however long it's been since this thing has had air in it. She is not going past 28. It's blinking at me. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, we're at 28.5 now. 30. It'll take it probably a little bit past 30. Oh, there we go. All right. Don't blow. How are we looking? I mean, we're looking better. Again, I don't want to put too much air in this tire. All you guys out there that probably drive trucks are probably like, that's a 90 PSI tire. You should be fine. I have no idea. And because I have no idea, I'm gonna play it safe. And at the end of the day, I'd rather struggle to drive this thing than have a blown tire, and now we're screwed for the day. Now, one thing I did ask Oscar to do when he was rebuilding this seat for me was to actually inset cup holders right here, like those stainless cup holders. I've seen some of the like C10 guys and some of those guys, they inset cup holders into the seat because obviously there's nowhere to hold a bottle or water or anything in this truck, but he kind of looked at me like I was crazy. and I'm assuming it's because of the spring setup on this versus a traditional seat, so I didn't really push the issue with him. Oscar does great work for a very affordable price. I basically let him build it how he wanted to build it. Now, obviously we aren't loaded down, we're not making a ton of turns, but she definitely feels a little bit easier to steer. Now, I haven't worked out arms in a long time, but I feel like I had this gnarly pump going from just freaking driving this thing all day. Hopefully today's a little easier. Okay, we are pulling up to our pile. What should we call this area? The Rhino Ranch pit, the mine pit, the something pit. Now back to the Coyote we go. I got this down to a pretty quick process the other day. And we've got somebody pulling up to my driveway that I don't recognize. That don't happen out here. We're gonna go pull the old block passing the tractor, because if I don't know you, you ain't getting in my gate. Let's go find out who this is. Alright, so it turns out that was just a contracted Amazon driver. We've got a package there for our tenants. Let's get back to work. We'll come down into our pit. And I have found that although it is very heavy for the truck, 5 scoops from the loader is about the sweet spot of what I can get in it. I'm sure if I put higher sides on it, it would probably honestly handle more, but we don't need to kill this truck. You know, she's 64 years old, so we should probably take it a little easy on her body. I gotta say, having the pit like this, piling it all up in a line, it's a very efficient system for working with what we got. So there is scoop number 3. I try to be a little strategic on how I load this. Push this pile over a little bit. Again, we want to be more evenly distributed, and we are good. Now, it's not like we're driving across town, you know, we're just driving across the property. So getting it good enough is good enough. And back to the dump truck we go. Woo, just look at that seat. I get excited every time I open the door now. In the last video that we filmed with this truck, a lot of people gave Danny crap for driving this thing, or the way that he drove this thing. And these trucks, these old trucks, they're not easy to drive. They're not super hard to drive, but they take a minute to figure out. And in all honesty, we kind of set him up for failure by sending him on this route. I've never driven up this super just steep and long hill. So if you're not used to these trucks, which, you know, I'm still learning this truck, you know, it's probably not gonna go perfect. So I'm gonna not fault Danny for anything in that video. Oh, we got Willie in the way. Run, Willie. Get out of the way, buddy. Get out of the way. We'll say that. Does get toasty in this truck. We'll open up the wing window on the other side, because the other window we've taped closed. This will be our air conditioning. We point it like that, it blows wind directly at you. So anyways, I've been getting better at driving this truck. Now this is my first trip for the day, so it might take me minutes to get it back. But you know, the shifting is getting better. I even am starting to get it to downshift, which these trucks do not like to downshift. I know you gotta rev match, you gotta do all kinds of things, right? I'm not a trucker. So everybody that freaks out like, oh, you use the clutch for everything. This is not a daily activity for me to where I'm used to just rev matching. There's no tack. I don't know where the heck that sweet spot is. So I use the clutch for things other than taking off and stopping. Which, you know, if you're a real trucker, take off and stop without the clutch. Just remove the whole clutch cable from your truck. All right, do a little downshift. There we go. A little second gear downshift. Now, coming up this steep hill, I've learned second gear low is where you want to be. And I think I asked this in the last video. I don't remember the exact answer, but to shift the 2-speed rear end, should I put the clutch in or not? It feels better when I do on the truck. It's like less herky jerky, but let's see. We're about to go up the hill right now. Put the clutch in, push that lever right there. Engages the low gear in the rear end, and then we can start climbing this hill. You ain't getting anywhere fast, but she has the power, and that's what's important. So now that I'm at the top of the hill, I put the rear end back into high gear, and we are good to go. All right, we are up to where we want to dump now. Flip the truck around. We'll say the brakes on this thing though are phenomenal. Get to our pile. Now again, I know I'm not a trucker, but you know, it's definitely a workout in this truck. So I put her into neutral, clutch in, push the PTO in, and again, none of these are like quick little levers. They all take some oomph. Release the clutch, now the PTO is engaged. You might hear it whirring. We pull out the dump lever for the hydraulics, and then she goes up. You'll be able to see behind me, and I know it's a really funky view. I had to put it on super wide for the cab, but you'll see the box going up behind us. No more weird noises with the, now that it's got topped off hydraulic fluid, everything's happy back there. And then we'll inch forward away from our pile and reverse the process. I mean, I guess I didn't really need to put it in neutral, but clutch in, PTO, disengage, and then we'll just start to lower the box. That doesn't need the PTO engaged to lower it. It's just a gravity thing. So you guys remember when we brought this just old patio cover that was next to the house, we brought it up to the top here. This area slopes pretty heavily. You can't, I mean, maybe you can see it in the patio cover there, but shorter there to there. So I just want to kind of bring this up back up to level. Then we can put like tables and chairs or like a swing under there, and you got a nice flat area to stand on. The other thing is I want to get water up here. Any structure that we have or anything that can burn, I like to have water near. Should there be another crazy fire, we just have access to water points around the property that we didn't used to have. So this will be no exception. One of the other things we'll probably start today, once we move all the dirt up here, is I'm gonna start trenching for that water line. Maybe you guys can see, but all the way over there where that excavator is, that's where we got to trench all the way up to here. All right, back to the pit we go. You know, and you really just make a day out of it. You can be hauling dirt all day today. If I had a bigger dump truck, would be great. If I had a skid steer, would be great. But compared to where we were when we started at this place, this is easy. I will take this any day versus not being able to move bulk material before. I mean, at one point we were using the mini truck because that's all I had. 3 excavator scoops in that thing and move it and dump it. But man, this truck is so cool. You guys can see now that the seat has all the spring back in it, you go for a ride sometimes, you hit a big bump, and it's like being on a trampoline. And this thing definitely gives you Waylon Jennings and Big Bird vibes. Now, while it would be nice to have somebody here running the loader, it really doesn't add much time for me to hop between the two, because I'd have to be sitting here waiting anyway. Honestly, one of my least favorite things to do is just like bulk move material. It's just monotonous and it's boring to me. I much prefer to be on the other end and the one that's like doing all of the sculpting. I just don't ever think I could be a full-time dump truck driver. Now, this last trip coming up the hill, I didn't clutch it, shifting it from high to low. And again, it doesn't make sense that that would really do anything, but I think what clutching it does is it makes me slow down and take my foot off the throttle a little bit when I shift it into high and low on the rear end. So I think I just need to let off a little bit, slow down a little bit, do it, no clutch necessary. My goal though is I'm gonna get a good downshift on camera. It's probably gonna take me a few tries. We're gonna make this happen. Again, upshifts, we got upshifts down, no problem. Let's try to downshift right now, ready? We're just gonna practice on the way over there. Hold on, let me get out of the bumpy section. All right. All right, we got a downshift there, that worked. Wasn't the smoothest thing in the world, but we didn't grind it all. Back up. Did a third. All right, let's try this again. Here we go. There we go, downshifted. All right, let's try it where it actually matters. Coming up here into this little S turn that I have to make. That's when it actually matters. And here we go. All right, we got it. Going into low gear, we're just slowing down, letting off, push that in. Now we're in low gear, and now we can climb this hill. And I may have messed up the count this time and put 6 scoops in. I wasn't really paying attention, but the pile definitely looks bigger back there. I don't know if y'all can see it. So let's see how the truck does climbing. Again, you kind of got to get on her, and she'll bog down a little bit at the top, but she ends up usually making it. Haven't had a time yet that it hasn't. Little chug, chug, chug. And we have the rest of the hill. Now, I just did a run and I decided I'm gonna float all the gears, and I did it. So I turned the camera on and I was like, I'm an idiot for not filming that. Let's see if we can do it again. We are in second, let's go to third. It'll take me a minute to get it down. All right, so we've got our upshift. We got to work on a little bit, our timing, and again, knowing exactly where the rev match needs to be. And again, this is an old gas truck. Like sometimes it takes a second to like take a breath before it revs up. So that's like an additional factor I guess I gotta account for. So we're in third, let's practice downshifting. There we go, no clutch. All right, I guess that certifies it, y'all. I ought to just go down and get my CDL now. Apparently I'm a trucker. All right, coming back up on this S-turn. Let's see if we can downshift. No clutch. Oh. All right, we got it now, y'all. We got it. Big trucker coming through. I just need a truck with some power steering. Okay, well, we've pretty much brought up the last load today. Let's see, I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 loads today, which that should end up being plenty to just kind of level this area out and make it really nice. Now, we are chasing a little bit of the sun setting behind me, but I want to start digging the trench to get the water pipe up here. I would like to start that today. Trying to get all the like prep work done that way, you know, when Abel comes back, we are ready to just throw some pipe in. We can come up here and just kind of grade out, you know, rough grade it real quick. I will say though, I've become a gear floating son of a gun. Just call me big trucker. I think I got this gear floating thing down now in this old truck. What you want to do? You want a downshift? I got you. There we go, a little downshift. Now, when we put this fence in and we actually put some spigots on the fence, you guys may remember back, we trenched for a water line. And it came all the way around, we hit the pool deck over there, we came around the fruit trees, ran all the way up this way, and then we put a couple of spigots again on that fence over there. One thing we did is we actually, right here where these two pipes are sticking out of the ground, is we put in a T that is shooting that way. Now, I didn't know what we were gonna do up there. I just had a feeling that at some point, we're gonna want water on that side of the property, and since we're already running a 1-inch line over here, we should probably prepare for that. I always try to like think way ahead in the future when I'm doing stuff out here, and it usually ends up costing me way more money when I do that, but this one didn't cost me that much more other than one T fitting. So by having the T in here now, it makes our life a lot easier. If we wanted to add that T later, we would have to dig up probably about, I don't know, 10 feet of pipe that way, 10 feet of pipe that way, to be able to pick up both pieces of pipe, put the coupling on, and then bring them back down. Because obviously you can't just squeeze a T onto this piece, grab that pipe, and slide it in. You would need both of them to come up, put the fitting on, and then as they come back down, they mate back up together. Hopefully you guys saw that with me holding that by my chin. So again, so we put this T in, which is gonna make it a lot easier. We'll still end up digging this up by hand because we don't wanna grab that pipe and yank it. But now we have to dig all the way up yonder to that patio cover. You probably can't see it because the sunset right there, but there's really nothing to it but to do it on this one. It's gonna be long, it's gonna be slow. I always also like to go deeper than you really need to. It's a water line, you don't gotta go super deep. But if we're gonna be running tractors through here and box blades, and over the years, we're slowly gonna be, you know, every time you take a box blade through here, we're removing a little bit of material. So I don't want in, you know, 5 years, we've digged down and now we're hitting this water line. So I'm probably gonna go at least 16 inches. I prefer to go even deeper, but we'll see as I'm digging. If it's super easy digging, then we'll go even deeper. These new teeth that I put on the excavator, I posted this on my Instagram. I'm gonna be doing a real like gnarly test with these very shortly. I was gonna use this video as kind of like a test for those, but I went and looked at a job yesterday. It's gnarly, this hillside with a bunch of boulders and rocks, and they need me to bring the Mini X and do some work over there. So I'm gonna bring the camera along that day, and we're really gonna put these gnarly excavator teeth to the test. So I'm gonna jump in the cab and let's just start digging. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, and we're just going that way, you know? We'll see how crooked this thing gets. What are the odds? Oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stay a little bit away from where that 1 inch and those pipes were sticking up so I don't rip any pipe out. And I have found the most pipe I've ever run into on this property. Look at that. What is this? It's got some 1/2 inch. I don't know anybody that uses 1/2 inch for much, but I have looked back on Google Earth photos, and at one point this area used to be like an orchard for citrus. There was a lot of citrus trees in here. I'm only assuming that's what this went to. This is all dead, by the way. I don't know where these came from. Don't know, you know, anything that got ripped out was kind of prior to me moving in. So I have no idea, you know, where even the valves were for all of this stuff. But this was an irrigated orchard area. And believe it or not, most of the trees you see around here, except for the big pine trees, like all of these trees going around here, those were planted and they all had irrigation running to them. This was a very, very well irrigated property at one point, but there are all those poly lines, those black lines that come on a roll. And again, those were all ripped up prior to me moving in. So next to every tree, you'll see like little bits of it sticking up. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Interesting. I guess we're gonna dig past this. We'll rip these out of the ground and keep going. I gotta say, pretty lucky that the dirt out here is just beautiful. This is really nice stuff. Here's one of those lines I was talking about. I have no idea where that one went. That's just a big field over there. Unlike the tree behind us, which has this, I don't know if I've ever shown the old little tree fort that came with the property. Yeah, we got some steps, nice deck area, a couple of straps, a little access hole right there. Came with a brush. A super sketchy swing that I mean, I guess you would dodge that little 45-degree angle there, and a big old tractor tire swing. Now, because the dirt is so nice, I'm going probably about 2 to 3 feet deep, depending on where we're pulling through here. Uh-oh, guys, I must have done something wrong, because we got the head honcho, Big Walt, coming over to talk to me or something. I'm not sure. He doesn't look happy. He was digging his horn into the dirt pile earlier. Let's see if he does it again. Oh, he's examining. Yeah, he's shaking his head. He does not look happy, guys. I'm not sure what he's doing. He normally doesn't come over like this. He's not a big fan of engines running. No joke, he flung a piece of that PVC that we dug up in the beginning. That's what caught my eye, that he was walking over. He like horned into the pile, and I just saw this piece of PVC pipe go flying. Oh, and he's out. And he is out. All right, guys, well, I guess Big Walt is gonna try an approach from the other side of the trench. I don't know. Oh, the camera came out. He's like, yep, I'm not gonna fight this on camera. Look how nice this dirt is, though. Sorry that the tracking sticks are in the way, but I'm holding this with my knee right now. But this dirt is just beautiful. So in years past, they actually farmed this entire field. This whole front section, all the neighbors kind of came together, and I believe they farmed this area without irrigation. There was just good water, I guess, those couple of years. So I imagine this dirt is actually pretty fertile. And I mean, look at the coloring of it. It is actually, it's beautiful stuff. Well, I'd hoped I would get further, but we got about to the halfway point, and that was actually where I started. We were starting to go a little bit this way. And there's no way we would have cleared this tree, keeping the trench on that trajectory. So I kinked it a little bit, and now we're shooting pretty straight. Now I'm gonna keep digging into the night. I've got the beautiful lights on the excavator, but we know the GoPros suck at night. If I didn't have these giant lights on my face right now, it would be super grainy and blurry and you probably wouldn't even really see me. So with that, we're gonna wrap up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now that you do not miss out on any future content. And don't forget to give this video a like, aka a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out the Work For It Apparel website because we got a few new things over there, workforitapparel.com, because if there's anything you want in this life, you gotta be willing to work for it. You guys are the best. I'm out.
Damn.